Have you ever felt the piercing sting of betrayal? That moment when your world seems to shatter, leaving you adrift in a sea of confusion and pain. Perhaps it was the harsh realization that someone you trusted, whether a friend, a partner, or a colleague, has deceived you. Maybe it was a quiet act of betrayal, like a promise left unfulfilled, or an earth-shattering revelation that upended everything you believed in. In those moments, it's not just the act itself that wounds us, but the lingering questions: why would they do this? Was it something I did? How could they not see the hurt they caused? Betrayal leaves behind more than just broken trust. It creates a ripple effect of doubt, anger, and sometimes even despair. And yet, there's something deeply universal about betrayal. If you're listening to this, you're not alone. Every person, no matter how strong, wise, or kind, has encountered moments of betrayal. It's part of the intricate web of human relationships, beautiful, messy, and fragile. But here's the surprising truth: betrayal, as painful as it is, holds within it a hidden gift. What if betrayal isn't just a wound to nurse or a story of injustice to retell? What if it's a profound opportunity, a call to awaken? What if this very pain, the kind that keeps you awake at night, replaying moments over and over, is actually a key to unlocking a deeper understanding of yourself, others, and the nature of life? Zen and Buddhist teachings tell us that suffering is not our enemy, but a teacher. These ancient philosophies don't sugarcoat the reality of pain. Instead, they guide us to face it head-on, to explore it, and ultimately to transcend it. They invite us to view moments of betrayal not as a personal failure or a source of despair, but as a chance to peel back the layers of misunderstanding that surround our hearts and minds. Betrayal, they say, isn't just about what was done to us. It's about what it reveals in us. Before we dive deeper, let's take a moment to reflect on a question that has puzzled humanity for centuries: why do we hurt each other? Why would someone you trust, a person you've opened your heart to, turn around and cause you pain? Is it because they're inherently bad? Because they don't care about you? These are questions that haunt us in the wake of betrayal. But Zen philosophy urges us to look beyond these surface-level assumptions. People hurt others for three fundamental reasons: ignorance, greed, and hatred. These are known as the three poisons in Buddhist teachings, and they are the root causes of suffering in the world. Ignorance blinds people to the interconnectedness of all beings, making them act without understanding the consequences of their actions. Greed drives people to seek more power, more wealth, more validation, even at the expense of others. Hatred is born from fear, anger, and resentment, compelling people to lash out in destructive ways. When someone betrays you, their actions are often not about you at all. They're driven by these universal human flaws that we all share to some extent. But here's the empowering part: understanding these causes doesn't just help you make sense of the betrayal, it helps you heal. Betrayal is deeply personal, but it's also deeply reflective. It's like a mirror, forcing us to confront not just the actions of others but our own expectations, attachments, and illusions. Think about the last time you felt betrayed. What was at the core of your pain? Was it the loss of trust, the feeling of being undervalued or disrespected? Or was it the realization that the relationship wasn't what you thought it was? In many cases, the pain of betrayal is tied to our own desires and expectations. We expect loyalty, honesty, and love, and when those expectations aren't met, we feel wounded. But what if we could look at these moments as opportunities to let go of those attachments? Zen teachings encourage us to see betrayal as a kind of wake-up call. It's a reminder that life is impermanent, that relationships are fluid, and that clinging too tightly to our illusions only leads to suffering. This might sound counterintuitive. How can betrayal be a gift? After all, isn't it one of the most painful experiences a person can endure? Yes, it is. But pain is also a powerful teacher. In the midst of betrayal, we're forced to confront truths about ourselves, others, and life. We learn to let go of what no longer serves us. We develop resilience and compassion. We grow stronger and wiser. In Zen, there's a saying, no mud, no lotus. The lotus, one of the most beautiful and revered symbols in Buddhism, grows out of muddy, murky waters. Without the mud, there can be no lotus. In the same way, our moments of deepest pain can give rise to profound transformation. Think about the times in your life when you've grown the most. Were they during easy, carefree moments? Or were they during times of struggle and hardship? Betrayal pushes us out of our comfort zones. It forces us to reevaluate our values, our relationships, and our sense of self. And while the process is painful, it's also incredibly liberating. In the next part of our journey, we'll dive deeper into the three root causes of harm: ignorance, greed, and hatred. We'll explore how these forces operate in the minds of those who betray us, and how understanding them can help us find peace. We'll also uncover practical steps you can take to navigate betrayal with wisdom and grace. From cultivating compassion to practicing forgiveness, you'll learn how to turn your pain into power. And along the way, I'll share stories from Zen and Buddhist teachings, stories that illuminate the path to healing and transformation. But for now, let me leave you with this thought: betrayal may feel like the end, but it's also a beginning of a new chapter in your journey. A chapter where you reclaim your peace, your power, and your perspective. So, take a deep breath. Let the weight of your pain settle for a moment. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Together, we'll explore the wisdom of the ages and uncover the tools to heal and thrive. This is just the beginning. Stay with me, and let's walk this path together. The three root causes of harm. Buddhism teaches that ignorance, greed, and hatred are the three fundamental causes of harm, often referred to as the three poisons. These forces are not merely abstract ideas but are deeply ingrained aspects of human experience that manifest in our daily lives, both within ourselves and in our interactions with others. By understanding and addressing these roots, we can begin to transform our suffering and cultivate greater peace and compassion. 1. Ignorance, the mist that blinds. Ignorance is the absence of understanding. A mist that clouds our judgment and leads us to act in ways that harm ourselves and others. Often, when someone betrays or hurts us, it is not out of malice but a lack of awareness about themselves, about us, or about the consequences of their actions. Consider the story of two farmers in a small village who shared a boundary between their fields. One day, Farmer A built an irrigation channel to water his crops, unaware that his actions diverted water away from Farmer B's field. Furious, Farmer B assumed the act was deliberate. But in truth, Farmer A had no idea the impact his decision would have. His actions were driven not by malice but by ignorance. This story invites us to reflect on how often we assume ill intent when others make mistakes. Could their actions stem from confusion, fear, or lack of awareness rather than deliberate harm? When we understand this, our anger begins to soften, and we open the door to greater compassion. 2. Greed, The endless hunger. Greed is the insatiable desire for more, whether it's money, power, recognition, or possessions. Like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. This relentless pursuit often drives people to harm others. Not out of hatred, but from a misguided belief that acquiring more will fill the emptiness within. Consider the story of two friends who started a business together. Over time, one partner became consumed by ambition and embezzled funds to expand the company. Their greed ultimately led to the collapse of both the business and their friendship. Years later, the guilty partner admitted that no amount of success had ever filled the void they felt inside. This story reminds us that greed blinds us to what truly matters: connection, integrity, and inner peace. When someone betrays you out of greed, it often has little to do with you and everything to do with their own inner emptiness. 3. Hatred, the consuming fire. Hatred arises from anger, jealousy, and resentment, acting like a fire that consumes not only its target but also the one who harbors it. When someone harms you out of hatred, it often stems from their own unresolved pain and suffering. In a remote village, two families had been embroiled in a feud for generations. One day, a member of one family, consumed by anger, vandalized the other family's property. When confronted, they broke down and admitted that their actions were driven by deep feelings of worthlessness and frustration over their own struggles. This story reveals that hatred is often a cry for help from someone overwhelmed by their inner turmoil. While recognizing this doesn't excuse their behavior, it can help us understand their pain and, in turn, release the anger we carry within ourselves. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing what has happened, it is about liberating yourself from the chains of resentment. The first step on this transformative journey is to acknowledge your pain. Suppressing your feelings only deepens the hurt. But recognizing and facing them allows you to heal without letting the pain define you. Next, seek understanding by reflecting on the root causes of harm: ignorance, greed, or hatred. Identifying the underlying cause can bring clarity and shift your perspective. Practice compassion by imagining the person who hurt you as a vulnerable, confused child yearning for love. This shift can spark empathy and soften your anger. Forgiveness is not a single act but a continuous practice. Each time anger arises, remind yourself that you deserve peace. Powerful examples illustrate the strength of forgiveness. Nelson Mandela, after enduring 27 years in prison, forgave his captors and worked toward reconciliation, famously stating, "Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies." Similarly, a Zen master who caught a thief in his home chose to give the thief a valuable gift instead of punishment, saying, "Next time, ask me directly." This act of compassion moved the thief to change his life. In daily life, mindfulness and gratitude are essential tools for cultivating forgiveness. When anger or hurt arises, pause and breathe deeply, observing your emotions without judgment. Focus on the blessings in your life rather than dwelling on past harm. Remember, your actions create ripples. By choosing compassion over anger, you can break cycles of suffering and inspire others to do the same. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my channel to stay updated with more content like this. Click the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any updates. Also, feel free to leave a comment.